Change is hard, not because you're doing it wrong, but because it asks something of you. Welcome to Change is Hard, a podcast from the Leadership Lab. I'm Audrey Blair, and this is a space for leaders who are learning how to sit with uncertainty, make decisions without rushing, and grow without losing themselves in the process. We'll talk about the moments that stretch you, the conversations you keep avoiding, and the quiet shifts that change everything. No noise, no pressure, just honest conversations about becoming the kind of leader and human you actually want to be. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. It is good to see you. I mean, I don't actually see you, but I do see your numbers. I see your downloads, and I see that you're out there somewhere, so I appreciate it. And welcome in. If this is your first time, welcome. And for those of you it's not, welcome back. So here we are in another episode. I had to calm down a little bit before recording this episode because this morning I called. A few weeks ago, I took my son to the doctor's office, and I got the bill. And on the bill, there were two separate line items for an office visit. We only did one office visit. So one was like 300 something. The other one was like 150, which is what I would normally pay. So I'm thinking, why are there two different office visits? I called and she said, okay, well, I can take this back and see if the coding is proper and it's correct and all that. So here we are a few weeks later. I call in and they didn't send me a new bill. They told me I had to call in. I called, and they then made some adjustments, and guess what? The bill is now higher. And I was not happy about that. I'm still not happy about that. But you know what? You win. I'm not going to keep fighting this. It is absolutely ridiculous. So here we are. So we're going to move on from that, and we're going to talk about some other things. Today, I want to talk to you about a new framework that I developed. And actually, I developed it for a speaking engagement that I did. A few weeks ago, recently, I had an opportunity to speak at an event for a group that calls themselves the Cedars. I think the whole name is Cedars of Lebanon. It is a spiritually based group. And so they are a community of what we might call the older generations, though if you ask them, some of them would quickly tell you that they don't feel old at all, which I agree and saw that certainly in the room. Honestly, that was a part of what made it so special because they weren't gathering to wind down. They weren't getting together just to slow themselves down. They were getting together because they still wanted to grow, and they want to keep contributing, and they do contribute to each other, to the community. And I love the idea that they wanted me to come in and talk about how they can navigate change well. I was really encouraged by that because they weren't pretending that change wasn't happening. There's lots going on. As you get older, we know there's health shifts, there's energy shifts. Your role starts changing. A majority of them were retired. Most of them, if not retired, were really close to retirement. And retirement, just like most change, does actually change identity. Kids move away or they might be coming back. And it just was a time that they were leaning in. And the title, I gave them some options for the title. And the title that they chose was When Life Changes Faster Than You Do. And I realized that the framework that I shared with them that morning wasn't just for that room. It's really good for any transition. So whether you're thinking or considering any kind of pivot, retirement or not, even when I think about leaders that are stepping out of a long-held role as maybe getting a promotion or moving somewhere else, maybe for the empty nester, or if you might be going through a midlife pivot or something, you might have had something unexpected come up in your own health, and maybe there is some changes in your job. So really for a season that feels unfamiliar, because at some point in life, and multiple points, and it happens quite a bit, things just start moving faster than we can keep up with. And that can be disorienting. In fact, our brains are not designed to keep up with the rate of change that we're going through right now, especially as technology comes in and changes things so quickly, we're still who we are. And it's not because we're weak. And just because there's change happening, it's not just about rearranging the calendar. It actually does touch on our identity. And that morning, when I looked around the room, I saw a couple of things. One, I saw a glimpse of future possibilities for myself. And I also saw the importance of really not aging out of a community. So, I hope that we don't graduate from growth. We're always becoming something and we're moving forward. So, today, in any case, I want to share that framework with you. So, whether you're 35 or 75, and when it feels like things are shifting under your feet, hopefully this will steady you. This is not about making change more comfortable. This is not about making it easy. It is a framework to help you process through change. So, what are some things that you can focus on and think about when things come up? I also love it because it's something that you can use for something small, like maybe you're shifting something in your role. Maybe there's a new software that's coming out and it changes your entire process, or you have a new boss, for example. And so now you need to get used to someone else. Or it could be something big. My daughter's a freshman in college this year. So this year we had to transition and move her out. So that was a change. So regardless of what it is, this is something that can help you. What's interesting is when you were younger, maybe you experienced this. Most kids do, or if you even have kids now, it seems like time takes much longer. During the school year, how often do you hear, "Oh my gosh, when is this year going to be over? I wish I could be that age. I can't wait to be an adult. I can't wait till I get to do X." And now as you get older, time seems to just speed up so quickly and can be a little bit weird. I talked to my daughter. At one point, we were having the conversation, and she was talking about how slow something was going. And I was like, oh my gosh, this year is going by so quickly. And so it's just that perspective. And as you get older, it does happen that way for whatever reason. A year can feel like a decade when you're young. And then when you're older, you're thinking, oh my gosh, a whole year just went by in a blink of an eye. So, yeah, but the change isn't actually what's the problem. It's the change that disorients us. And even thinking about, okay, retirement, it's not the retirement itself. It's questioning, who am I without this role? It's what now is my purpose? How do I spend my days? It's not the kids just leaving home in my case. It's, okay, what does that relationship morph into? The mom that I was just even 6 months ago, it's different now. There's a shift that happens when there's more independence on this side. And so what does that mean for me? It may not be just a health shift. It's sometimes you might be questioning, can I trust my body with these things? I can't move as quickly, or I can't not allow myself the recovery time that is needed. Maybe some of you are experiencing or have experienced job loss. I certainly have experienced that as well, but it's, what does that say about me? So when life does change, our identity tends to get shaken. And when that happens, we can feel unsteady. So instead of telling you, and there's lots of messages, and we do need to embrace change, and it is sometimes helpful to stay positive, but that's not very helpful sometimes. I just want to give you something more grounded. So this framework, I called it shift, which, you see what I did there. Change, shift. So let's go through it. It's pretty straightforward. So S is see the change. This is the first step. This is about clarity. This is about naming and being very clear on what is actually going on. It's hard when you're just thinking something feels off, or something feels weird, or I'm not the same. Those things might be true, but it doesn't help you. So one thing is, drill down and be specific on what has actually, or what is actually changing. Is it your structure? Do you have a new role? Do you have a new boss? Is there a new culture that's being developed? Is it your energy? Maybe you don't have the same energy that you used to. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. I was like, man, I'm getting more tired more easily. Now, I also recognize that I hadn't been doing a great job of taking my iron vitamins, so I need to do that. But is your energy shifting? Maybe your income has adjusted somehow. Maybe you don't have the same influence that you had, or maybe your influence is increasing and you're noticing that the things that you say have more power and people are responding differently. In some cases, and particularly in this room, it was about their independence. Some of them, it's necessary to become more dependent on others. And when you can name it, clarity brings or lowers anxiety, I should say. So if you have you ever like been late at night and you hear a noise, maybe it's a storm or something, you hear a noise and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that? And you're freaking out and you get anxious. And then you finally get up the courage to go and figure out what that noise is. And then you flip on a light or you look out the window and you realize, oh, it's just a tree branch that's brushing up against this window that's scaring me. Soon as you see that, as soon as you recognize that, as soon as you're able to name it, that anxiety goes down and you're not feeling all those things and the nervousness. You can calm down and go, okay, I see what it is. Do I want to do something about it? Do I want to change it? Or is it something I'm going to let be? It's the same thing with going through change. It is necessary to actually figure out what is changing. Okay, so I'll just use my daughter and just her transitioning into college as an example. Well, clearly what's changing is most of the year, she's not living here. We moved her into the dorm. She's about 90 minutes away. And so being able to get my eyes on her and see her regularly on a daily basis, that is certainly something that is changing. She loves to cook and bake. The daily messes in the kitchen, that's something that's also changing. And by the way, change isn't always about the bad things. I think sometimes it gets a bad name and because it does produce some anxiety. But this also applies to things that you want to change, things that you actually have desired. Did I desire for her to get older and want her independence and to go off to college? Of course. Does it mean that it was easy? Absolutely not. So naming what is actually changing, what's different. On the flip side of that, it's also important to name what is not changing. Your character probably isn't changing. Hopefully your values isn't changing. Your faith you still have, your wisdom you still have, your core strengths, those are still things you have. I'm still her mother. I still have opinions about what she's doing, whether she's living in the house or not. We're still going to talk. We still have a relationship. There are things that actually aren't changing as well. So sometimes we can blow it up and think that, oh, everything's changing. But in actuality, not everything. That's why it's important to name and be more specific about what is. The second thing, H, is honor what has been lost. This is something I think we don't spend enough time on. We usually skip this phase. Even a good change carries some level of grief that comes along with it. So what has been lost? An empty nest can be peace, but it can also mean sadness. So growth might also mean outgrowing who you were. This is something surprisingly that I deal with leaders who, especially as they have been promoted into a new role, it's hard to give up what you used to be, who you used to be for your peers, especially if you are now leading those same peers. It's hard to give up what you used to do on a daily basis. So if we don't honor what's been lost, it shows up sideways. It shows up in confusion. We might get irritable when it doesn't make sense. Why am I so irritated? You might withdraw. There might be a little bit of restlessness that's happening. And really it's evidence that's telling you that something did matter. So what is it? What has been lost? As I said, right, the daily connection with my daughter, which means I've got to figure out a different way to connect, or the quality of the connection over quantity of connection. So that means the time that we do spend or when we do talk, the quality matters so much more and the impact during those times. Whether it's something that you want to change or if it's an unexpected change that you don't want. You have a new boss and you love the way your boss did X. Well, that's great. Honor that. But now it'll set you up to transition you to be more open to what is coming and allow you to be curious about, okay, maybe there's something over here that I can embrace as well. Honoring what is lost, spending some time grieving that loss. I know grief can sometimes feel like a heavy word. We tend to reserve it for the heavier things, but it doesn't have to be so heavy all the time. It applies there, but it also applies when we're dealing with what we might consider smaller things that we're simply letting go of. There is a grieving process that should occur and allow ourselves to go through. It is not a weakness. It is not a weakness at all, because particularly when you're shifting things at work and maybe you have a new team or a new boss, those relationships, they matter. Even if they're just work friendships, you may not hang out with these people after work, but your day to day and the years that you spent with them while you were working together and doing projects together, when that moves, it's not a weakness to feel like, wow, there's a hole now. It just meant that those are things that mattered. All right. The I is integrate who you've been. As you start transitioning into this new role, into this new identity, bring with you the things that are necessary for you to bring. I love this because many of us think, oh, we have to start all over again. You do not. You're not starting over. You are carrying things forward. You are bringing things with you. Roles do change, but your qualities, your value, when you were a leader, you still have your leadership. Let's say for some reason you were a leader and now you're back to being an individual contributor. Those leadership qualities don't go away. That influence doesn't go away. Now, if you're the kind of leader that solely relies on the title and authority, you might be experiencing some of that. But if you've actually built genuine leadership skill sets and qualities and competencies, and you have the influence, it doesn't really matter at all what your title is. So what are you bringing with you? If you were nurturing, you're still nurturing. You don't have to reinvent yourself from scratch. You want to integrate the things that are necessary, that are applicable for this new role that you're moving into. So you have to think about, how does this version of me show up now? I there was a great example. One of the ladies retired several years ago, and every Sunday when church lets out and the kids come from their classes, you can see a beeline. All the little ones, doesn't matter the age. So from 4 to 5-year-olds up to the middle schoolers, they're making a beeline to one of the ladies because she's like, I want to know who the little ones are and I want them to know me. So she brings candy every week. And the price to get a piece of candy is a hug. So she brings in some of her nurturing qualities, some of her building community qualities, some of her values around staying connected with the youth. And it's been amazing to watch over the years because they know her name. She knows their name. And now some of them have grown to not just getting a hug and grabbing some candy. They will actually have a little bit of a conversation with her. How was your week? How are you? So it's developing skills in them as well. And I joked about it also teaches them that older people aren't scary. And it's an amazing thing to see and to watch how she used that part, that those values that she brought and used when she was working and other things. And now she's transitioned that into something else. I just think that that is so brilliant. So how does that version of you show up? When you're stepping into a new role, into a new team, what are you bringing with you? I've talked a lot about the value, understanding and being able to articulate your value. That shouldn't change no matter what room you're stepping into, because at the core, that is who you are. Now, the wisdom is knowing when and how to use it. Absolutely. But it still comes with you. So there are things that you're letting go of, but there are things that you are bringing along with you. All right. The F is focus on what still matters. transition can scatter us. It can be ambiguous sometimes. And a lot of times we try to keep up with old expectations in new seasons. But every season has a change, might have a different assignment. So maybe instead of asking, what should I be doing with my life, maybe thinking about what matters right now. What should I be focusing on right now? Is it my health? Is it my relationships? Maybe I've been in chaos for a long time. Maybe what matters right now is I figure out how to bring some peace into my life. I'm working with some clients right now where there's just been chaotic for years and they've had to build a lot in their role. And now it's time to like calm things down, bring some peace. Maybe what matters is that you do step up and be more of service to someone or something else. Maybe it's a time of learning or to simplify. Focus isn't about just shrinking your life. It really is about how do I align on what it is. And a lot of times the focus might be you. Like I need to think about me and what I need in this moment. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not getting the sleep, if you're not creating boundaries for yourself, if you're not making decisions that are beneficial, then you are absolutely out of focus. A new role, a new boss, a new team. Maybe the focus is on I need to reestablish and develop some new relationships. So my focus is not going to be showing up and trying to get ahead of everyone. It's how can I collaborate and build strong relationships with my new boss or my new team? Picking one thing that will help to stabilize and give you an area that you can focus on. All right. And finally, the T. Here's where it all comes together. You don't need a 10-year plan. You just need one step forward. Maybe one phone call, one appointment, one boundary, one conversation. It is about taking one intentional step. And that is what is the next thing that I can do to help to ground this under me. Movement does help to rebuild confidence. So it's not about being behind. That transition time, it's weird because you are actually in between, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure. You're actually bridging into something else. Like you're moving into something. It's a passageway onto the next thing. Send out an invitation. If there's a hard conversation you need to have that hard conversation. Maybe if it's a vacation you need to take that you haven't taken, get that vacation on the calendar. What is that one thing that you can do? So the shift model, see what is actually changing, is the S. Honor what's been lost, H. Integrate who you've been, I. Focus on what still matters, F. Take one intentional step, T. That's a framework to help you to navigate through change. Because if it feels like things are changing faster than you can keep up, take a pause and give yourself this process to work through. You're not done. You're evolving into the next version or the next iteration of who you are. And that is a beautiful thing. And that's something that we can certainly embrace. So as you embrace it, it allows those around you to embrace it as well. It was a blast hanging out with them that morning. I loved the way that they were really interested and took this all in and figuring out ways to apply it to their lives. And I hope it's something that you can apply to your life as well. All right. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Hey, if something in this episode resonated, I want you to know you don't have to navigate it alone. This is the work we do inside the Leadership Lab, building capacity, strengthening decision-making, and learning how to lead with intention through change. If you're curious about working together, you'll find more information in the show notes. And if not, that's okay. I'm glad you were here. I'll see you next time.